Good evening, and welcome to 5-Year Club video number 57. Yup! In today's video, we're going to talk about housing advice from two different sources. One is Dave Ramsey. How does he think you should purchase a home? And number two is Bank of America. They're evil. All right, let's get right into it. What I've done is I have taken the salary of $60,000 because that's the example salary I like to use. I put that into a California take-home pay calculator, and I crunched that you would receive 2 paychecks per month on that salary, $18.20 a piece. So your monthly net income is going to be $34.60. No, $36.40. Got that wrong. Okay, $36.40. So let's go and use these calculators and figure out how much you should be paying for housing according to these different people. So $36.40, calculate that. Wait for the internet to work. All right, a maximum mortgage payment of $910, says Dave Ramsey. How much house can you afford based on a 4% interest rate on a 15-year fixed mortgage? And they give you example housing costs. All right, so $910, that's what Dave Ramsey says. $910 is the amount that I can spend on my mortgage payment. Let's look at good old Bank of America. I have pre-filled $60,000. They have a bunch of different questions. Annual gross income, $60,000. Monthly net income, pre-filled that, $36.40. Hit that good old next button. For utilities, I'm going to say that I spend, say, $75 on electricity and $50 on water and sewer and everything else. So let's just put in $125 for that. And for home phone, actually, I forgot, maybe for home phone, I think I can do that for like $50 for a cell phone, whatever. And then internet, $75, so let's put $125 for that. And yeah, I bumped my electricity up to $80 because that's my actual bill. So, all right. Insurance, I'm going to estimate that all you're really covering is auto insurance for the purposes of this calculator, which is something like $75. And then household entertainment, that includes groceries. Okay, well, I just have that general flex, that budget of like $500 a month that I use to pay for my food and everything. Dependents, I don't have any kids for the purposes of this calculator. And travel, I'm actually going to put $200 a month for travel because we need to buy some plane tickets to see some relatives and we need a vacation every now and then. So $200, and then savings. I know I'm going to have to save $1,000 a month for retirement. Next. And finally, debt. How much debt? How much credit card debt or gas cards or department store cards? 0. Calculate. Uh-oh, something went wrong. Well, this will be exciting. So, okay, that's nothing there. 500, 200. Savings is 1,000. Did I mess up on the first page then? 60,000, 36.40. Expenses 130, 125, 75, 500. 0. Next. 0. Calculate. Okay, maybe that was a bug, but now we have the answer for Bank of America. According to Bank of America, instead of $910 a month, they think you can afford $1,400 a month. But if you look at the details, it says what you can comfortably afford down here, $1,400 a month, and then recommended maximum mortgage payment plus debt. We have 0 debt, so it's $1,800 mortgage payment is the maximum, and it is recommended. It's the maximum, but they still would say, okay, we recommend it. So $1,400 to $1,800 for Bank of America. And they say it's based on industry standards, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. So I'll tell you guys a secret. Last thing is, Dave Ramsey said his, $910 was for a 15-year fixed. Bank of America doesn't say anything about whether it's a 15-year or a 30-year mortgage here. They just say this is the amount of money per month. If you look at their mortgage site, well, what mortgages are they pushing? The 30 year is the first one they mention. That's got the lowest payment. And then the 20 year is the next one they mention. And then it's all the way to the third entry before they mention a 15-year fix. So my guess is that Bank of America wants you on a 30-year with that payment. A 30-year. And so, yeah, you're not paying off your Bank of America mortgage for 30 years. Little secret is I already calculated all this stuff ahead of time. I knew what it was going to be. I'm tricky like that. So, we crunch those numbers from Dave Ramsey. Let's get this stuff back in your brain. $910 on a 15-year fixed from Dave Ramsey. That matches up with his recommendation that 25% of take-home pay should be spent on housing. And then Bank of America, again, $1,400 per month. And it's also $1,400 to $1,800. Now, if you work out the percentages, Dave Ramsey is saying 25% of take-home pay. Bank of America is saying 38 to 49% of take-home pay. Almost half of take-home pay on housing is within the recommended range. So Dave Ramsey, 25% max. Bank of America, 49% max. That's like double. That's a pretty big difference there. 38 to 49%, and they would recommend it on a 30-year so that you don't have your home paid for. In the 15th year of a 30-year mortgage, you have paid off 1/3 of that loan. You still have 2/3 of the loan to go. So if something happens, you only have 1/3 of that loan paid off as equity gained, because most of that 30-year mortgage for the first 15 years has been interest payments. Now, I wanted to specifically get to the percentages here and focus on the percentages tonight, because there is a concept in personal finance, in housing literature, called housing cost burdened. And we can see it here, just mentioned in this article by the U.S. government census. Who can afford to live in a home? A look at data from the 2006 American Community Survey by Mary Schwartz and Ellen Wilson, U.S. Census Bureau. The conventional 30% of household income that a household can devote to housing costs before the household is said to be burdened evolved from the United States National Housing Act of 1937. Okay, so they're saying that above 30% is burdened. And here, Bank of America is at 38% is where they are starting, right? And let's see. Yeah, so this concept of housing burden exists throughout other internet literature. I'll post these articles in the description so you can get a sense of how people talk about this stuff. Bay Area rents still a struggle for residents. A study by Apartment List, a rental website, found nearly 1 in 4 renters in San Jose, San Francisco, Oakland, and surrounding areas were severely cost burdened, spending more than half of their income on rent. About half of Bay Area renters are considered economically burdened, spending over 30% of their paychecks on shelter. Okay, over 30% of their paychecks on shelter. Housing's new normal, struggling to pay the rent. About half of renters across the U.S. are cost burdened, meaning that more than 1/3 of their income goes to their landlord, according to a recent study from Harvard's Joint Center for Housing Studies. I'd like to point out something here, and that is how sloppy financial journalism is. All right? This one is talking about 1/3 of income. Gross income, net income, which one is it? They don't say, I'm going to assume that this is going to be gross income, because if they don't specifically say take-home pay, I think income is just income. But if we look up here, spending over 30% of their paychecks on shelter, this one's clearly referencing take-home pay. And, this one, the first one, conventional 30% of household income that a household can devote. Again, it's ambiguous. We don't know. If we go back to this Bank of America website, we can read this statement. Based on industry standards, your debt-to-income ratio, which is comprised of your monthly mortgage payments plus any existing monthly debts, should be 36% or less of your gross monthly income. So 36% or less of gross monthly income is going to be the monthly income, including the taxes that you pay. So that's the whole big enchilada. And your mortgage payment should be 28% or less of your gross monthly income. Okay, so Bank of America is saying mortgage payment should be 28% or less of gross, but not net. And let's see. So what, they said $1,800 was acceptable. It was the maximum that they said. So my guess is that 1,800 divided by the 5,000 like gross take-home pay, or gross pay for someone making 60,000. It's not take-home pay. I think that's probably 36%. And so that's where they get their 1,800 number from, is they get it from this 36% or less number. So that maximum number, even considering if it's gross pay, they're still cool with you going 6% over being cost burdened by any definition of cost burden, whether that's based on your take-home pay or the gross pay. Bank of America is cool with you being cost burdened. Dave Ramsey's not, because that 25%, he already says it's take-home pay. It's definitely going to be less of the gross pay. Let's see, quickly, 910 divided by 5,000, 5,123 is going to be 18.2%. So Dave Ramsey is cool with you maxing out your housing cost at 18.2% of gross pay, but Bank of America wants you go 28 to 36%. So, point is, big differences in the advice you're getting from these two sources. Very different motivations. Who do you think is trying to make more money from you? Bank of America, who wants you to pay them hundreds or thousands of dollars a month for a mortgage? Or Dave Ramsey, who knows he's likely to sell you a book for maybe $20, maybe $10, maybe just buy the book used, and then that's all the money he ever gets from you. Maybe you even pay $100 if you go to his super premium Financial Peace University program. Whereas with, Bank of America, you're going to be paying them hundreds of thousands of dollars in the course of a lifetime of a 30-year loan. So who has more of a motivation to lie to you? The guy who's at max only going to get, a couple tens? Or this giant mega corporation that's been shown time and time again to defraud people and, wants to receive hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest from you. I wonder who I should be listening to. All right, that's it. Now you have the shape of it. You have the shape of how extreme the differences are in advice from these two sources. And, you'll have to look at it all yourself as you decide how to live. For me, I'm obviously on the side of low housing costs. I'm 100% on the side of decreasing housing costs and aiming for definitely less than 25% of your take-home pay. And do not get a 30-year mortgage. Get a 15-year mortgage so you can have that home paid off for retirement and financial independence. Thank you. Thank you for watching video number 57. Have a fabulous evening.